Israel is advancing on Damascus. That's how my friends put it in the KJ. This information came from Reuters. The Israeli army has come within 25 kilometers of the capital, Damascus. Now, when all this started, what happened 11, 12 days ago? There was such a deployment on the Golan Heights, but it was only for the people living there. It was more of a precautionary measure. But afterwards, the bombardment started. So now when we look at what has been happening since October 7th, we know that Netanyahu has no limits, no boundaries, no limits. What is Israel doing? I mean, what can it be aiming at? What do you think, Mehmet Hatzet?
Now, first of all, there is Israel behind this, which is also discussed as a thesis. This is a development that partly refutes the thesis that HTS is acting together with Israel. But when you look at the work itself, when you look at what's going on, Israel is now facing this emerging transitional period. Well, it is conducting a very barbaric campaign of aggression on the one hand in order to use it to its advantage. I mean, with more than 300 airstrikes, air in the air, that is, all the planes, helicopters, etc. of the Syrian state, even Navy ships, ammunition, weapons, depots, by targeting the capabilities of the new Syrian army in this regard. Here it aims to eliminate. In this sense, Israel is an important, but it shows that he was not at all well-intentioned. On the one hand, now, first of all, there was a ground advance to create a buffer zone in the Golan region. They announced that they made a notification to the United Nations in this sense, meaning that we are making this movement by land to create a buffer zone for a temporary period. But now, of course, if the goal has changed, a ground operation towards Damascus, etc., is a completely different thing. I wonder if this means that there is a distance of 60 kilometers between the Golan Heights and Damascus. It is already in question. As I said, does Israel want to create a buffer zone close to Damascus, or is he going to bring it further and act with a different kind of intention? Sometimes, you know, what they say and what they do are so contradictory. Especially in this period of Netanyahu, most of the times, because it happened. I meet it with some caution. I refrain from making a clear sentence of judgment at the moment. Maybe Ali Burak Hoka will make a clearer news on this issue.
As you said, he made such a statement to the United Nations, but what he said and what he did don't match now. I mean, I don't understand it either. It came as far as 25 kilometers southwest. So what is the target? I mean, he's picking off the leaders one by one to clean it up. So Netanyahu did everything he could. Who is it? Is Golani the target now? I don't understand that either. Go ahead.
Now we need to look at the nature of the progress. We need to look at how many military elements are coming. This could be a specific operation. In relation to the new process to be established, I mean, it could be to have an impact and to show its power to the HTA, which will play a leading role. Now, one of the main reasons for Israel's heavy bombardment is a measure to ensure that Israel's heavy weapons inventor, Assad's army's heavy weapons inventor, and if you look at the points where they hit, perhaps the warehouses where the weapons of mass destruction are located, so that they do not fall into the hands of radical elements and do not pose a threat to them in the future. At this point, this activity, I mean, you have to look at how many troops have passed through. It can be a specialized activity focusing only on a specific target in that area, but such a large buffer zone, it is not very realistic. I mean, I don't think it can go very far, but in order for me to analyze this a little bit more, I need to see the background of this advance, how many military units or what the inventor is, As I said, there could be two possibilities. Either it could be a special activity or it could be a retreat after getting close to a certain point in order to create an impact, to show its power. It could happen. I believe that the attitude and behavior of the HTC, the attitude and behavior of the opposition led by the HTC is not in a position to disturb the West too much or to disturb Israel too much. The messages are clear. At this point, we need to watch the activity a little more. It is very fresh. You know, I would like to look at it a little bit more in a while, and I would like to comment accordingly.
Well, Mehmet Hasset has a couple...
I mean, there is no such thing as an advance perspective. Such an account is probably out of the question, isn't it, Hodja?
I mean, I don't think you would ever choose to go up against HTC right now. There is no logic, and there is no point. Maybe there could be a group close to Hezbollah. There could be a group of the Crusader Shah. There could be an activity aimed at a special weapons depot. This is how I look at it. It seems a bit more like this, but we need to take a good look. We need to listen to the details.
There have been an activity aimed at the ammunition there, or maybe chemical weapons?
Yes.
So Turkey should also take precautions in this regard, because we went through this in Afghanistan. Some of the elements of the regime planned an action with the Stinger missiles that were distributed. Maybe we should look at it a little bit like this. In other words, there is no political advantage for Israel in confronting HTC right now. There is no advantage to the US. As I said, HTC, I believe that the US has an influence on some elements of HTC as much as Turkey does. I believe that the US has an influence. The influence of the US means that Israel also has an influence, but I don't think it is true that Israel is directing or manipulating HTC's activities. HTC is not a structure that can be manipulated by Israel. Turkey also has influence on some groups. I would like to look at it like this.
I mean, America, we can meet, we will go there, we will hold talks. We need to look at Golani's good words and good deeds. It seems like a smooth transition is taking place. I mean, we understand this from the current statements from both Biden and Trump. So you say Israel will not abuse this, even though it is 25 kilometers from Islam.
So if there is an established order and an implicit agreement, there is no point in this troop movement that will disrupt it, that will upset this balance. I mean, are you going to occupy Damascus, for example?
So instead of closed, these are ultimately pragmatist states, opportunistic states?
Yes.
I don't know what is being taught.
I'm not talking to you from Israel's point of view. What is the logic? I mean, what is the logic of invading Damascus, 25 kilometers from Damascus? There is not much logic in coming to a point of hot contact with a dynamic structure like HTC, a structure with high fighting capacity and high morale. As I said, I think it is more likely that this is a special activity.
So what do you say, Mehmet Hasset? Let me get a summation from you. It's about Israel.
Yes, I mean, let me repeat that. I mean, Israel. His words and actions are contradictory from time to time, and I say from time to time. Therefore, now this is also a new walking news. It is a breaking news. It turns as breaking news. I don't want to make a sentence of judgment without looking at the background of the details a little bit. I don't want to make a sentence of judgment. But I mean, I agree with Ali Burak Hoja here. Israel's a ground invasion into Damascus. To Damascus with the intention of an invasion. I don't think there is a synonym for them to act with an idea at the moment. They have carried out very effective airstrikes. Syria's existing capabilities from the previous period, both the helicopters, airplanes, air elements, attacked the Navy off the coast of Latakia yesterday evening. And also, for example, in Kamishli, for example, they hit ammunition depots. They are doing it. They are doing it in a way that Syria itself, or the continuation of a threat, a current threat from Syria to Israel. I would like to use this gap as an opportunity to use the transition period as an opportunity to prevent this, but let me express again that it is malicious. It is understood that he has such a perspective, but it is possible to take it further. A de facto occupation evolved towards, it doesn't make much sense to me either.